Okay. In theory, it's live.
The love boat soon will be making another run. Look, I had seen all of those shows, and I knew there were only two that were legitimate possibilities, and I had to look it up because I thought I remembered his face.
Whose face?
Fred Grandy.
Oh, okay.
A former U.S. Representative, Fred Grandy, representing Iowa's Republican Party. Come on.
Greetings. Stay a while and listen to the Love Boat and how it relates to U.S. politics.
Hey.
Hi, Bones. How you doing? Your head's. Well, your head doesn't stay where it's supposed to. You kind of.
Neither does mine. Mine's constantly in the gutter. I get it, babe.
You kind of. He slouches. He's just like.
Hey, that's kind of been what I look like all week. Anxiety.
Let's see. We've got people in chat already. We've got Seven, Pen, and Rohan. Rohan. I'm. How do you say your name? And Libet. Yay, we're live. How's your day been? My day's been long. I love geometry. I loved geometry. Geometry was my favorite of the math subjects.
Maths.
The maths. But this game, I really don't think takes any geometry into effect.
Good old ESRB.
What I love is like a classic Sierra logo. Like, oh, wow. So this game is basically just colorful lights and shooting things. There's eyeballs trying to get me, but they're scaredy eyeballs. They run away from my lasers. There's pinwheels that try to murder me because, you know, back in the mid-2000s, there was that killer pinwheel, you know.
What I want to know is what exactly it is that you're firing that disrupts the plane so much. Like, is there a major gravitational component or something? Like, that's the only thing that really makes sense.
Wait till you see when we encounter just plain circles. Like, that's gonna be the crazy part.
Or is how your weapon works, like creating a planar shift. So you're not really killing the enemies, you're just sending them to a different. And these are the ripples of that.
You know, it could be that this is a two-dimensional entity sending something into three-dimensional space. Like, I'm not really destroying it, I'm just, you know...
That's what I'm saying. I'm just...
I'm Q! God, I wish I could grow up to be as cool as John Lance. Oh, hey, there's a circle. It sucks everything in, and then I die because there's so many things on screen at any game. Like, I just completely lose track of where I am and what I'm doing. Especially once we get to like this part, because now there's diamonds, and diamonds are apparently not your best friend. Diamonds are apparently like assholes. So, you know, I don't know if we're within the first minute yet still or not.
I don't believe we are. So, no. You call him Rocket Fucker Skank. That's what it is. Call him Rocket Fucker Skank.
What?
I'm responding to Libet, who said that she was going to call the little rocket dude Rocket Butt. No.
I like watching the circles.
Rocket Fucker Skank.
get stuck in their own gravitational pull like this.
Oh yeah.
It's hilarious, and it's just gonna keep going until I blow one of them up. I love this was an interesting physics game, I will say. And again, bright colors, you know, it's kind of like classic arcadey. There's lots of bright flashing lights and, you know, a score.
You know what? If I could reasonably expect to play roller derby, which I probably can't unless the pain management clinic does a lot for me and I keep good insurance for a long time. But if those things happen, then yes, that will be my name. That will be it. Rocket Flickers game.
Oh god, I flew too close to the sun with Icarus there. I had too many black holes on the screen, and I could not escape. Alright, can I do the next? No, it's gonna make me do the same place again. No, okay, there we go. It'll let me do one of the other places. Do
No,
trainer duo. It's a bigger square.
It is. Oh, now you're the one warping the plane. Maybe.
I think I always kind of warp the plane.
Okay, yeah, you do when you're moving.
You couldn't see it as well on the smaller field.
Yeah.
Whee! Deadly pinwheels of death.
Icosaurus Rex.
Oh. Oh shit.
But really, though. Oh, don't fall into the event horizon! No!
So many time travel movies. You know the worst one? Endgame. So I have some.
Yeah.
I have some feels about Marvel and how they ended
Yeah,
that.
that was some fuckery.
Got bombs too. I haven't used any of them. I don't quite remember what button they are. As I'm sitting here trying to find out, everything's trying to kill me. And I run into that. Basically.
Maybe they should travel back in time and redo their shit.
Okay, that completely
I killed
threw
you.
me off. Oh. Oh. Yeah, and Barbara's here as well. We got Barbara. One day I should catch up on decade plus now of Marvel Madness. I mean, you can there's a couple that you could just skip over.
Yeah.
Like Iron Man 2 has some good moments. But overall, I hate Mickey Rourke.
Oh, see, I like Mickey Rourke.
He's,
I don't know why.
I'm about to say, he is the antithesis of things that you like.
Yeah, but there is something about, like... Okay, I should correct. I like Mickey Rourke in that role.
Okay. That makes far more sense.
It's just... it had potential, and then somewhere between script writing and editing, it got fucked.
Well, okay, so Whiplash, you know, I mean, most of the Marvel villains are kind of D-listers for Iron Man anyway. Like, his main villain is the Mandarin. And they kind of fucked that one up by doing a red herring. Like, especially if you're gonna use fucking Ben Kingsley.
I don't know. I kind of thought that was brilliant, though.
Well, yeah, but like...
It could have been done better, but the fact that they used Ben Kingsley as the ringer...
I mean, I would have loved to see Ben Kingsley as the actual Mandarin. Like, they could have had someone else pull the gap, and it would have been hilarious.
Plus, I think, well, coming from the background that I do, I think the way they handled that, like, the execution of some things in the movie could have been better, but, it was a pretty decent representation of the role of whiteness in commandeering certain stereotypes towards its own end.
I mean, that was...
And I thought that was clever.
I mean, the whole concept was clever. I liked it. But...
I think the whole...
It frustrates me.
I think everything with Pepper Potts is actually what kind of fucked it up for me.
What aggravated me is the fact that, again, all of Iron Man's standalone villains kind of suck except for that one. So, like, they had so many opportunities to where they could have.
I mean,
especially when, you know, pushing the whole 10 rings in the first movie as the people who kidnapped him. That could have been, like, there could have been a lot of social commentary there, and they didn't do it. That frustrated me.
I think ultimately what we can learn from Iron Man is that, in fact, his greatest villain is himself.
Actually, you know,
as a rich fucking white man screwing shit up, thinking they know better than everybody else.
I mean, that's not inaccurate. His worst enemy was always him.
It's just, that's all I'm saying.
Okay, that's the bomb button. That's a good... No, I say that and then I still get blown up.
Yeah, exactly. Penn said the problem with the Mandarin is he's a classic Yellow Peril villain, so you have to dodge that landmine.
Yeah. Well, like, one of the things that I really wish they had gotten into, because they talk about it a little bit, there was a 90s cartoon show of Iron Man, and it, looking, like, I bought it, and going back and rewatching, it's like, it is terribly problematic in a lot of places. And, you know, that's... that's Marvel in a lot of ways. But one of the concepts that the show had that I loved was this whole magic and mysticism versus technology. Because, like, the Mandarin had 10 rings, which were, each had a different power. And for the longest time, it's like, oh, they were magic rings. They were magic. And then we find out they're not fucking magic. They're from an alien dragon that crash landed on the planet that's been kind of hiding out, and this guy found these rings. And it goes into the whole thing. They even used this line in Thor. A level of scientific advancement so far beyond your current comprehension can appear as magic.
Well, it's not just... I mean, yeah.
So, like...
What science fiction
has been...
writers have been saying.
Yeah. But I mean, the fact that they use that same line in
universe.
In Thor. Like... And they did nothing with it. And then Iron Man 3 was...
Iron Man 3 was Mandarin.
Iron Man 3 was Mandarin. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, I just remember him and hanging out with a kid. We had a connection. I'm cold.
Yeah.
Who showed up at the end of Endgame. He was at... Spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen this, I apologize. He was at Tony Stark's funeral. He's that one guy... He's that one young man standing by himself when they're panning through all of the groups of...
Gotcha. I didn't realize that's who that was. Also, by that point, I was so pissed off I didn't care.
Have you ever played or heard of Landstalk? I have heard of it, and I have played it a little bit. It's an interesting isometric game. There's a sequel that never got released called Lady Stalker, which was actually really fun. And then there was a couple of sequel-esque things, like there was, what the fuck is the name of it? Dark Savior on the Saturn, and there was Time Stalkers on the Dreamcast, which is terrible, terrible RPG. It's one of the worst games I've ever bought. It's $60 that I regret spending, and I still own it to this day. As a reminder...
Do not buy stupid shit for no reason.
Adam Kulix wants to Let's Play it one of these days. And I want, if you're watching this, please Let's Play it soon. I really want to watch that, because I think that watching you play that is going to be the only way to make that game enjoyable.
Yeah. Also, you should just...
I've been talking to Felix a lot about the card game. I had a couple of like really random ideas. I'm like, hey, and like all day yesterday, like I had an idea for something, and it's I'm gonna stick my penis controller in your crotch there, Bones. Because I'm a classy motherfucker.
Is that a controller in your crotch, or are you just happy to see me?
Well, everyone always referred to this as my penis controller, and I can't imagine why. But so I had an idea for a subset of cards yesterday. There's like, I don't know if any of you have ever had this, where you have an idea, but it's only like half formed. Mm-hmm. Like you feel like you're missing something that will make this perfect.
Oh, that's like how I feel about my entire life, honestly.
That's just how I feel every day.
There's just, I'm missing a substantial something to make this all right. And I ain't found it yet. Anyway.
Well, so I had that, and it was pissing me off so much. And like I was talking to Libet, I was talking to Amber, I was like, and I finally messaged.
Not talking to me.
I think you were at the store at that point.
Oh, okay.
So,
fine.
You know, doing adult-like things like buying
Making sure
food.
we have food to eat.
So, finally, I talked to Adam, and Adam was just like, said something incredibly, like, really, you haven't pieced this together, just do this. And I'm like, fuck, that's right, that's a good idea. And it all just kind of, I'm a writer marauder, that's how I feel 2/3 of everything.
Honestly, Penn, yes.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, you were at the grocery store for like not quite 5 hours.
I was there for 2 hours. What happened was I was delayed getting out of the house because I was fighting off a migraine. and it kind of took longer for me to get up on my feet than I had anticipated. And then I went to, like, I had gotten everything ready and went to go put card in my wallet and head on out to my car, and I could not find my wallet anywhere. So I spent 45 minutes tearing the house apart trying to find my fucking wallet. You want to know where it was? Right next to me in the bed. I had already looked in the bed like 4 times because I had remembered the day before, or maybe even the day before that, having like just come in and just kind of like flop and taking my wallet out of my pocket so I could just flop, and I just tossed it on the bed, but I couldn't find it. Well, there it was. So that ate up a good 2 hours between trying to get on my feet and trying to find my wallet. So, and then yeah, I took my time at the store because I went to the Walmart in Hillsboro, which is just, it's a calmer experience, and so I just let it be a leisure weekend. But I know that I got there at 8 because by the time I'd gotten everything settled and got my mask on and everything and walked inside with my return to go to the customer service desk, I got there and they said, sorry, we close at 8. And I was like, what time is it? And I look at my watch and it's 8:05. So, and then I got back to the house at 10. So not 5 hours. I mean, maybe, but usually I'm not that careless with it. Usually I set it on the bedside table, but honestly, I've been fighting migraines on and off for the last several days, and it was just, it just kind of flopped. It's either usually on my bedside table or on the side table next to the couch, like almost always.
I like the green ones. They run away from the... Those guys come after me. The green ones run away from the shots. Every unique shape has their own oh god. They have their own AI too, and it's kind of batshit crazy. I was about to say, where is everyone? There's no one here. Sneaky things are neat too.
Oh, 7, that sucks.
What's up?
The weekly struggle, how I messed up my ankle this week, and it's still not quite healed on it. Grocery hopping and wasps don't mix.
I mean, wasps don't mix with anything.
I mean, no, but that sucks. I have very problematic feet and ankles, and I know what that is like, because then it's just a reminder every time you move. Plus, with the wasp part, no thank you.
Yeah, not a fan of wasps.
I've gotten a lot better about, like, not totally freaking out about flying insects around me because they kind of mess with my sensory processing issues. But yeah, no, I will still do, like, the funkiest dance on earth trying to get the fuck away from a wasp.
I haven't really liked bees since, My Girl. They killed Macaulay Culkin.
I think I'm with you on that, Seven. Like I totally get it, and like if like Libet in your case, if you want to keep doing delivery, like that's cool. I do for an introvert in a group full of introverts. I seem to require the most social interaction, and I need to get out from time to time, and grocery shopping is a way for me to do that. Also, I've learned to just I don't know. I just like being able to pick things out for myself, especially when I forget that little check mark on like whether or not you want substitutions and this and that and the other. It's just, I'll just do it myself.
I do pet bees. I pet some bees. I pet bumblebees because they are the pandas of the bee world, and they are adorable, and they are my friends.
And since the mimosa is blooming, we've now got bumblebees closer to petting height on the deck, which is nice.
Almost. And we do have, he doesn't let us pet him, but we do have a carpenter bee that hangs out on our back.
I haven't seen him in a while.
I mean, I don't know, I don't remember what their usual...
He was around almost all summer last summer. I think he might have lost a fight to somebody.
No. But there was a carpenter bee that we named Sam, who basically just hung out on our back deck. He would float at about eye level on our back deck. We think he was like a centurion, a scout, something. He was always...
The deck was his territory.
Yeah, that was... there's a nest somewhere near there, and he was the lookout to try to protect it from either other carpenter bees or other
Usually
wasps.
it's just chasing off wasps and hornets, which I
yeah,
appreciate.
we were like, we gave him, we would set out like a little container of water for him in case he got thirsty.
Yeah.
Like we loved Sam.
I almost got last night without asking you. I almost got one of those insect houses for like the beneficial pollinators and whatnot, in anticipation of hopefully maybe actually having a garden next year, since clearly this year got fucked. So I don't know, we may end up with a beneficial insect house.
Hey, maybe. I'm beneficial insects. However, Libet and Amber keep trying to convince me that I want to be friends with spiders.
Nope. Mm-mm. And before anyone says anything, yes, I have held a tarantula. A friend of mine had one as a pet. I forced myself to pet it and hold it as like an attempt at aversion therapy. It did not fucking work.
No, I don't even want to. Do not want.
I'd actually deal with a snake better.
I would deal with a snake better.
I still don't want to deal with a snake, but I would deal with a snake better.
Like these giant ones. Because the giant ones, when they get destroyed, they don't give me anything.
Except littler versions of themselves. It's basically the ha-ha fuck you of the geomes. I guess.
Oh god, get away, go away, go away, go away, go away. Leave me be! Dodecahedrons?
Look, I can appreciate the cute spiders
From a distance?
across the internet. Or maybe behind glass at a zoo, not in the house.
So, we have a museum downtown called the Museum of Life and Science. It's a great museum. I've been going there since I was a kid. They have all sorts of like neat shit. They've got a bunch of shit on loan from the basically permanent loan from the Smithsonian. Like
It's fun.
one of the actual lunar modules, a full Saturn V rocket. They've got a lot of shit, and it is just neat. And it's a fun place to go and hang out. And for a long time, I would donate to them because, you know, it was one of those places that I would go to as a kid on field trips. But then I'd also like want to go on my own because it was just neat. They have an insect house where inside there's all these fun little containers full of neat little insects like scorpions and
Not scorpions, not insects.
well, no, but they do have scorpions in the insect house because they also have this open air section of fucking spiders where there's just spiders. They're like, no, they just kind of stick to this area, and I'm like, how do you know? Oh, they just do. But what if they don't?
Yep, that's a whole lot of nope. No, thank you. Yeah, arthropods generally not a huge fan of. I have been stung by a scorpion. Don't recommend it. Luckily, it was in Florida and not out west, so it wasn't poisonous. It just hurt a lot, and it took a while to comfortably walk on that foot, like a couple of days to let the swelling go down. Which is why I enjoyed so much, and I still have one in the fridge waiting for my 40th birthday. Scorpion beer. Well, it's actually 99 scorpions and fuego or something like that, because it also has serrano pepper in it. But it's brewed with food grade scorpions, and I drink it and I laugh in spite at the scorpions stung me. Like, haha, motherfucker, I'm eating your cousins.
And what I love is the concept of food grade scorpions. That is a sentence.
I bet you, like, if I didn't know, because it would be the same kind of shit people pull with deer meat and unsuspecting people, which is kind of fucked up. It's really fucked up. But, like, I feel like someone, as long as they didn't tell me that, like, whatever it is was, like, food grade spider or something, I could probably be fine with it. And then after eating it, finding out what it was, I'm like, okay, well, you know, here we are. But yeah, it is entertaining that food grade scorpion.
Food grade poisonous creature.
You know, like you do.
Oh god, that was a lot of shit showing up at once.
Yes. Yes.
What are we guessing?
Anything with a stinger is a flying / walking / crawling, etc. Pyrrhic victory made manifest. Even if you win, you still probably lose. And Penn comes in and says the only way to win is not to play.
Yeah.
It's true.
Like, this is like, because one of the selling points that they were trying to be like for tarantulas was like, they don't bite, they can't. They just usually don't. That's the word that I'm not okay with in this instance. The usually.
I feel like though, like that whole exchange about Pyrrhic victory, yeah, very French nihilist, like, c'est la vie. The only way to win is not to play. And honestly, I feel that in my soul.
Now I want a remake of War Games. Who is the guy that played in The Professional? Jean Reno?
Never.
Oh, he was also the The French Secret Service and the remake of Godzilla.
Never saw it.
Oh my god. You would recognize the guy if you saw him, because he's one of those like actors that just has a very prolific face.
Gerard Depardieu?
No.
Okay. Because that is a memorable face.
That is a memorable face for sure.
So this person didn't openly pee on an airplane.
No. At least not to my knowledge. If he did, that's news to me. But anyway, like, I want a remake of War Games with him, just as the only way to win is to not play the game.
Jean Reno.
Is it John Reno? Okay.
That's what Penn said.
Okay.
I trust Penn on pop culture matters.
Don't know.
Don't know. We have some overlap, but like a Venn diagram, we cover more terrain together.
I mean, so one of the things that I just saw recently was a post on one of the Star Trek fan groups. It was the whole point of a poly relationship is to get enough people in your poly circle to perform a successful heist. And it was the DS9 crew as they were getting ready to do the Hollow Suite robbery episode where they got to rescue Vic Fontaine. For those of you who have not seen
great.
Deep Space Nine, Deep Space Nine is just...
Okay, if you haven't seen Deep Space Nine, go watch Deep Space Nine. Like, stay logged on, so like the view time is still up. But like, just mute it and watch Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine has some really great episodes. It has some concepts that just kind of frustrate me because it aired around the same time that Babylon 5 did, and it was almost like Paramount's attempt at like, oh, Babylon 5's doing a lot better than we thought it was. Let's rip them off, instead of sticking with where the story was going. And then also the showrunner at the time was just a complete and total dick.
Well, I mean, yes. Also, Berman was less involved in some seasons of DS9,
Than
and
others.
you can notice.
You can tell, yeah.
Which ones he's stuck his nose in.
Yeah. But yeah, so like that is a
fuckface.
It's a great series. And Babylon 5 is probably one of my favorite sci-fi series of all times. I could not watch it for 4 years because I tried watching it right after the Trump election, and there were way too many uncomfortable parallels. And I'm sitting here going, I know how this ends. It ends with the president who took over by shady means, blowing his brains out in an office before he turns our global defense network on ourselves and tries to nuke the planet. Don't want to get to that point. And I don't want to watch in real time as I'm watching a show to escape from. So I couldn't watch it. Maybe I'll go back and rewatch it now. But it's a great show. But there are so many instances of Deep Space Nine, and this is one of those times it's like, I probably should have known I was poly long before I was. Because like, I'm sitting here looking at these people, it's like, why do these people have such a weird relationship? Why don't they just all date? And I thought of that as a teenager. Like, especially Dax. And Dax... There's a lot to say about Dax.
Okay.
A lot to say about Dax. But yeah. So, but great series. Great series.
Yeah.
But like, just that one thing encapsulated, and like, Libet has also watched Leverage, and her and Amber are trying to get me into watching Leverage because they both love it as well. And like I've seen a lot of episodes with it. I've seen like I think mostly the first 2 seasons. Also a great show, but there's also like a very heavy like these 3 characters are just in a relationship. Just accept it. If you can accept this headcanon, the show becomes so much more interesting and so much more meaningful on a lot of levels. And that was Deep Space Nine to a T. Like,
yeah.
That's been my reaction to love triangles forever. And I mean, yeah. The anti-NTR. Leverage is awesome, and so is John Rogers. Like, I need to watch all of Leverage because, and in fact, there was just an article about it. It's like it's the ultimate feel-good show because it's like even with the drama, it's like they're gonna win because this was like I don't remember what network it originally aired on, but it was like TBS or TNT, like one of those networks. So it's going to be like they're going to come out ahead.
Yeah.
Like even on the episodes that they don't quite come out ahead, they're going to come out ahead. So like there's that. Apparently my stream jumped up to 16 people for a minute. What the hell?
Woo.
That's a weird spike. But like just
I mean, hop on for geometric stuff and stay for the Star Trek discussion.
The spike went away. I don't know what it is. YouTube's analytics are weird.
Yeah, I don't. They've been weird since the last update.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're always a little weird.
But yeah, I've got a couple people trying to get me to watch Leverage 2 also. But speaking of that meme, the other variation I've seen is that the goal of polyamorous relationships is trying to get enough people together for a successful campaign. I mean, if you're all running the same Google Calendar, you can sync up schedules at least.
That's not an inaccurate statement. Like, yeah, that... However, I have learned it's generally best not to game with people that you're in a relationship with. Because there's always that one person that's just like, I'm sleeping with the DM, and then you're just like, really? Really? Which is funny because Amber pulled that card when we were in high school because she actually joined the tabletop campaign I was running, and yeah. Granted, I gave everyone bullshit that they shouldn't have had. I let people play ridiculous fucking characters because, like, you want to do something ridiculous? Sure. We can be ridiculous. It's going to be fun.
And the monkeys all got
Basically. Well, okay, so Will. Will was in my tabletop campaign. He wanted to play a Saiyan from Dragon Ball Z. And Saiyans are incredibly broken as a species concept. They get stronger every time they almost die. And then, their rate of, strength gain is far beyond that of what humans are capable of. Because, again, they could shoot laser beams
gains, bro.
that, blow up the planet. So, like...
Like Riley and Jonesy working out leg day. Look at these booties. Sorry.
But so Will was like, I want to play a Saiyan. It's like, okay, sure. Like, the only thing is, like, it's like, okay, you want to be a Saiyan? I'm going to pull shit from Dragon Ball Z that's just going to completely dick you over. So Dragon Balls were a thing, and now, bad guys can make wishes to reduce your power and take away your, like, all sorts, like, I was very, very monkey's paw with it, as you say, like, Like someone wanted, a doomsday weapon. It's like, okay, sure.
If I ever get the together to DM a game, I am going to be that DM. I know I will. And it will be out of love. Just, real, tough, snarky love.
I mean, I was one of those DMs that, like, I played very fast and loose with the rules. Like, I basically didn't adhere to any rule structure.
I adhere to death.
Basically, like, we were running a GURPS campaign, so, like, it was pretty open-ended to begin with, but, like, there were so many times, like, I'm not even going to make you roll for this. I'm just going to tell you what bad shit's going to happen to you, because that was the stupidest idea you could come up with. Like, that was my life for, like, 4 years of high school.
Yeah. I need to get my hands on one of those critical failure damage tables that like go through the ridiculous shit that you end up enduring after a critical fail roll.
Yeah, so literally what doesn't kill you makes you strong, basically.
Like the one, like the spell backfires, and there's one, it's like chickens rain on you periodically for no reason and you can't discern the timing. Just weird shit. I need that.
There's a card game, I forget which one, Luth's been trying to get me to play it, and it's all puns. But it's like D&D puns. So there's a card that's Meteor Storm. But instead of rocks, it's flaming chunks of meat. And so I'm sitting here going, yes. And now I want to play a game like that.
Yes.
Like, I want a tabletop game where it's just like, welcome to the puns. One of the best tabletop games I ever played, and I really wish Chris had run more of it. One of my best friends in high school, and I would say now, except I don't talk to him anymore.
Yeah, Chris. Where are you?
But he ran a one-shot campaign of what was called Illuminati University. And it was fucking brilliant. It was like Harry Potter, but instead of just magic, it's super science, mutants, magic, aliens. It was everything that, that the Illuminati would keep under wraps. And so, like, you were sitting here, like, we had algebra class, and then we had divination class, and then we had molecular derangement class. Like, it was just...
I love it.
It was great. And so, like, we were all students, and it's like we were dealing with dorm life, we were dealing with classes, we were dealing with... It was so good. So much fun. But it's like, it's campaigns and things like that are just, like, off the wall that I truly love.
I need to hop back on Discord and set up a channel, because there are a couple of Grant Howitt one-shots that I want to run. Goblin Quest being one of them. Sexy Battle Wizards.
I don't know if I showed, there was a trailer for E3 called Wizard with a Gun.
Yes, you did show me.
And I'm just sitting here going, I don't know anything else about the game. But I love the concept that you've hooked me with the concept.
My favorite bit, and you will enjoy this, is because the syllable count and stress works out. Similarly, they decided on the podcast that the theme song was Sexy Battle Wizards. It was delightful.
Oh, it would be a story hook for The Devil Went Down to Georgia. There's a post. I think I said it on the last live stream. It was the one of those motivational posts of the devil whispers in your ear, you won't survive the oncoming storm. I whisper back, at least I didn't lose my golden fiddle to some hillbilly in Georgia.
Constantly followed by theme music. Yes. I mean, technically, I guess I kind of already am, considering there's always a song stuck in my head all the time. It just comes with me.
Well, I mean, if they were a were-shark, it had to have been...
Big were-shark, do.
I was thinking, da-dun.
I'm a person, do. Now I'm not, do.
Oh.
I'm a bite you, do. Yep. And you claim to like me living with you. I know, you love me. That's what attracted you to me in the first place. Is that Bones' office staring to the camera like...
Oh God! I had a meeting with my local team, and not my boss, because he's a regional manager and I'm in a specialized department. But like he's high enough that he can fire me on the spot if he so chose to. And our two HR people and our one HR person now and our two admin people. Because we're setting up the office to come back in a limited capacity. Wankery. But, again, some people work better in an office. I'm not one of those people. But so we had a video conference to where we could talk about it. And I had completely forgot that Bones was still in the background. And I just turned it on. I'm like, oh, well. And they're like, Chris? What? I'm like, hi. This is my friend Bones. Bones McCoy, and like Greg, the man, like I could just see him just go, like just sigh dejectedly of like, this is the person, this is one of three people we trust to keep our computers working, and he's got a fucking skeleton sidekick.
I don't know. That spells trustworthy as far as I'm concerned. And for what it's worth, Libet, like, and this isn't like a whatever, because I was held back a year, so it's not an attempt to make you feel old, because no, but my 20th high school reunion is this year. It should be like exactly right now, but you know, pandemic and shit, and I've got other things going on.
I remember my 10-year high school reunion was getting ready to happen. And like everyone's messaging each other on Facebook trying to set something up, and a couple of people asking me, are you going to go? Are you going to go? I'm like, no. It's not that I don't like any of you, because like there are quite a few of you that I do like. But the thing is, those of you that I do like, I've been keeping up with for the last 10 years because of Facebook, the same medium we're using to communicate right now. And so, like, I think maybe, like, 30 people went to my high school reunion, if that. So, yeah.
Like, I don't know that, at least from a few classes before ours to several classes after, when the high school was split, I don't know that there's really anywhere large enough to handle adults possibly drinking at a high school reunion because our graduating class was like 900 people. So even if half of that, a third of that showed up, that's still a significant space that needs to be rented out.
Yeah.
So I think it was probably, unless we wanted to go to the Alamo Dome, which is where we had our graduation. So I don't think there would be any one reunion. There'd just be one that's more official than the others. And we had actually planned a group of my closer friends and I doing like an alternate reunion. Somebody brought up the idea of doing a cruise. Somebody brought about renting a cabin, kind of like somewhere central-ish U.S. because we're spread to all four corners. And then the pandemic happened. So maybe we'll try for next year to do our little thing. But
So you may take offense to this, but you were talking about your reunion and the Alamo Dome, and it's sad. The only thing I think of when I hear Alamo now is Alamo beer from.
Oh no, I don't take offense to that at all. The thing about King of the Hill is just how fucking accurate it is. It's just in San Antonio, I guess the beers of choice were more likely Pearl, which is the local brewery, Shiner, which I still love, and Lone Star. And Lone Star for a little while looked kind of a lot like Alamo beer.
Now I'm like, I want there to be an Alamo beer, because then no one will forget the Alamo. And I'm dying left and right on this now that I'm sitting here just talking about the Alamo. I mean, it's one of those things, like, being from West Virginia, it's like there's a lot of history. You've got a lot of things like for West Virginia, but like none that people actually pay attention to. Very few that are actually taught in any sort of history class.
Yeah.
I think the only one I ever heard about in a history class was the Battle of Blair Mountain. Like, I think that's the only one that they even bothered to talk about. Either that or like discussing the Hatfields and the McCoys. I'm like, yeah, of course you are.
You know. Marginalized folks, regardless of how they're marginalized, although like it is a matter of degree, don't get talked to.
Yeah, it's funny. I have so many family members that grew up there, and it's like talking about how they don't like unions. I'm like, you can keep talking. I need to get a beer for this because. Well, it's funny because like in one breath they'll talk about how they don't like unions, and then the next breath they'll talk about how my forebears fought against the company man. I'm like, so you're pro-union? No.
It's
You're pro-union when it works for you. You're anti-union when you're worried it's going to cause your taxes to go up.
I can't.
I just can't.
I mean, I can. It's just that the things I have to say are running through my head so fast and so violently that I can't get them out of my mouth. Oh yeah, Reagan, Nixon started a good chunk of it, but boy howdy did Reagan just hop on that bull and ride it into submission.
Reagan smash.
I miss Robin Williams.
Same. I was telling my parents about Mitch Hedberg the other day. So let's see. I mean, like I said, most of the people that I wanted to keep in touch with in high school, sure.
I mean, I'm still in touch with a lot of them, but I haven't actually seen any of them face to face since 2005. So, you know, there are several of my friends that I would like to give a hug. Maybe hang out in a slightly less teenaged awkward situation. We'll just be adult and awkward because all of us are neurodivergent in some capacity or another. But yeah, I'd like to see them. It's just sometimes it's like the big round numbers feel like a good excuse to make it happen. It's less about the reunion aspect because honestly I didn't know most of the people and a good chunk of them I didn't like. Or they bullied me when I tried to make myself likable. So yeah, but like it's the big round numbers that kind of feel like an extra impetus to make it happen. And then I ended up with so many medical and mental illness issues that like it took me forever to graduate college, and I honestly like there were 3 people I graduated with from college that I care about seeing again. Like I
think not ever going to college. I don't really have the college reunion aspect of it, and like high school, like again, people that I really cared to keep in touch with, I did, or I'm starting to get back into touch with because there are a couple of people that I'm like, hey,
yeah. Also, the people that I was closest with when I was in college were generally not students, and about half of them were professors. It's just the meanest thing to say. Actually, so I had therapy today, and I said something about, I mean, not at all a secret, like my yard work time is my thinking time. Like I have something to keep myself occupied in a way that also allows my brain to just kind of run and do what it wants. And I just kind of like sighed, and it was like, I love my lawnmower time. And Sarah was like, that's the most Jesse James thing you could ever say.
I have therapy tomorrow, so I'm gonna be. I have no idea what I'm actually going to talk about, but like, because I've been mostly, other than like dealing with the office opening up, which I'm not unhappy about, because for the most part, very little is going to change for me, because like most companies, mine's doing it in rollouts. So like, we're opening up, like everyone's taken all of their personal belongings. Look at you and your drinking problem. Like everyone's got their personal belongings out of the office.
My hand just shook a little bit, and that's what happens with a full beer can.
So like we're setting up temporary desks, so people just come in and they're assigned a desk. So it's like not even going to your own desk or office in some cases, depending on how that's going to turn out. And only a quarter of our staff is going to be set up, like no more than that. And that's only if those people show up. And so like, for the most part, it's like, yeah, we might have to have, like, I go in 2 days a week every 3 weeks to the office. That's my current setup. Now it might be we have to go in 4 days a week. In my case, it would probably be every 2 weeks. Which still isn't that bad, all things considered, for, you know, a corporate gig. That's not too bad. So I'm curious to see how that's going to pan out in the long run. Because, like, you look at so many things, like, so many people are like, no, I want to stay working from home. And I love working from home. Love it. It's great.
Y'all coming with me to go get my...
Yeah, Libet had an office. Just got an office. Had an office for, what, 6 months before the office, our entire building closed, and now you don't have an office anymore. Yeah, that's a dick move. But I'm also debating if I should bring my stuff back from the office. I only have like 2 pieces of art and some things on my desk. Like I have a little Cubone and a little glass Pokeball just sitting on my desk. He's adorable. I love him. And then Libet got me a wacky wailing inflatable arm flailing tube man for my desk. So I hope they do right by ventilation. So we have a lot of restrictions. Like anyone going into the office has to have proof of vaccination. We basically own this building. There's one other company that operates, but they've been downsizing a ton. So like I don't know how many of those people are there. But yeah, I mean you've got like air circulation that's going to be a thing. It's close quarters. It's one of the big things that caused a lot of places to close down during the pandemic, is like you don't want a bunch of people trapped in an enclosed space. But yeah, like I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But like that's probably the only thing that I've got that's been super taxing the last couple of weeks in terms of, you know, just mental health. I mean, it has been fairly taxing because every day I'm sitting here going, do I have to go in and deal with more shit today? Usually the answer is no, but occasionally it's yes. And on days that it's yes. Yeah, I don't trust the HVAC either, especially since it's broken twice in the last few weeks. What are you...
Show feet guy.
We don't have our own show feet guy yet.
How else do you think we're gonna attract them? Jeez.
With these bony ass.
Yeah. You got pretty feet, babe.
Proud of you. Oh.
I keep threatening to like move him different places, to the couch to, you know, sit and watch a movie with me, or for me to spoon.
I mean, I think Bones has to be the little spoon.
I mean,
I fucked that one up completely. New high score, 1,000 points. I killed 4 things because I'm sitting here thinking just the mental image of Bones he's he's a 5-foot skeleton. I don't actually think he's 5 feet.
5 feet.
I know for a fact he is not proportional. Like, this is not a human-sized head for a 5-foot tall person.
How do you know?
For one, the ocular cavities are way too fucking small. Also, look at his hand.
Don't
Look at his hand.
What about it?
His thumb is way too long compared to...
That is just awkward. I can't do that.
Yeah. Like,
It's kind of
if I put my hand there, there's not... there's
Okay.
considerable more space.
It's okay, baby. I love your hands.
Your bony hand.
Is that a bony hand, or are you just happy to see me?
He is the bone of your spoon. Oh, God. I love the Fate series. I think I've watched two series since you moved in, but it's a fantastic show. I have one of the games. I've not really gotten into it. I've got the PSP one, and I've got one on the Switch. Like, I love the concept of it, but I can never get past the phrase, "I am the bone of my sword." One of the main characters, that's his mantra. He has a incantation that he says to activate his full power, and it starts with, "I am the bone of my sword," and I'm sitting here going, nope.
I like the bone of a whale's sword.
And by that, they mean whale penis.
I do. It was the bone of his sword.
But like, I'm sitting here looking at this like from a blacksmithing perspective. Nope, there's nothing that you would consider the bone of your sword. There's the tang. That's your handle. And now we're starting to sound a little more penisy than I'm intending to. It all comes back.
Is that a tang in your hand? Or you're just happy to see me?
I was telling a couple of people about this.
Very tired.
I was telling you about it. The segment in the final season of Castlevania with Hector and Lenore talking about the hammer is my penis. Like, never have I heard a more fitting euphemism for man and his penis. Was a Cubone character who starts to chant, "I am the bone of my club." Oh my God, I love that. That's adorable. Because Cubone is my favorite. I have Culex gave me a stuffed Cubone. He's up there. Cubone is one of my favorites. Cubone and Farfetch'd, because they're the only two Pokemon who advanced far enough to learn how to use tools. Cubone carries a bone. Farfetch'd, he carries a leek, an onion leek, but he uses it like a sword, so at least he's on the right direction. He knows. He's got an idea.
I mean, same, buddy.
He's trying.
I get it.
Like Mewtwo, one of the strongest Pokemon, the strongest psychic type Pokemon, strong enough to enslave the will of humanity, hasn't figured out how to pick up a stick and beat people to death with it. At least the Farfetch'd is like, gonna hit something with this onion.
I mean, same, but usually I do it with my breath. But that's okay, Farfetch'd. I got you, babe.
Cooking with the Emmia family, not even ironically, one of the best. Not entirely serious. I'm very rarely, but like I love. There's some really interesting things about Pokemon that I love. And I'm also, ironically enough, Farfetch'd. It's probably second favorite Pokemon. 20 years later, finally got an evolution. And, you know, he didn't fucking need it. Because he learned how to use a... His evolution is, he changes color from brown to white, he gets a bigger onion leek as a sword, and he gets an onion leek leaf shield. So he's got the right idea.
You gotta start somewhere.
On the right track.
I was at the bottom and I clawed my way up. Feel you, buddy.
I was at the bottom and I clawed my way to the middle.
Well, okay, that's a little more accurate for me anyway. I wasn't gonna disparage Farfetch'd.
Yeah, I don't know Farfetch'd. I don't know what he's gone through. And like the whole thing about Cubone is it's a fucking, you know, if you actually read a lot of Pokemon descriptions, it's really fucking dark. Like Cubone, it is called the crying Pokemon because it sits there with a skull on its head. It's the skull of its dead mother because apparently the mother dies in childbirth. And so it just sits there wearing its mother's skull, lonely. And I'm assuming the bone that it uses as a weapon is like its mom's femur.
And better coping mechanisms. Yeah, no, it is it is upsetting to me. But yeah, no, I've only like really started learning about Pokemon not entirely of my own volition because my nephew, my quasi-adopted nephew, is super into Pokemon. And the last time I saw him anyway, he challenged me to a game of creating our own Pokemon. To which I was just like, how about you create and I'll name?
Like, I can name shit, I
got nothing. Hun. Sorry.
like, especially, like, reading a lot of Pokedex, especially when you've got, like, literal ghost Pokemon. Like, these things are dead. Meaning, we're already discussing, you know, the premise of a Pokemon afterlife. Also, you know, a 10-year-old child enslaves God. Because that happens. Because God is a Pokemon.
There's so much that just I just caught it a little too late to be able to suspend.
I mean, you're not wrong. Like, when you look at it from an outside perspective, you're like, what is this crazy psychopathy? Have you heard or played any of the Ys games? I have many of the Ys games. I've got the 3 PSP ones. I've got 2 for the PS4. I've got 1 for the Switch. I've got another one that's getting ready to come out that I just got billed for because I bought the collector's edition. That comes out... When does that come out? It comes out next month, I think? I thought it did. Does it come out this month? I don't know. I think it comes out next month. I thought I had it on my calendar, but I don't seem to, unless it's blocked off by all the other things that I have in my calendar. Because again, the joys of being Polly, Google Calendar, your Google Calendar looks really fucking rough. But yeah, I have a couple of these. I actually did a short bit of, I think it was a 4-episode run of one of the Ys games. I think it was Ys Origins on the PS4.
Not the PSP.
Not the PSP. But I think I did that, so you could check that out. One of these days, I'm going to let's play a full game. You know, one of these days. Oh, and I have 3, because I forgot. This big-ass box is one of them. This is Ys 8. This entire box. I forgot about that. I'm like, I thought I had another one. Which was the other? Oh, yeah. The big-ass collector's edition box.
It's dummy thick.
It is dump truck thick.
It is pudding thick.
Ah, yes. pudding thick.
It's not Jello. It's pudding thick.
The newer ones fan out in every direction. Yeah, the newer ones, I haven't, like, I'm curious as to what they're going to do with the newest one that comes out. But, like, I like the series, so I figure I'll at least tolerate it. But, like, my favorite are the Penis P games, and I haven't played Celceta yet. I want to play Celceta. That's one that I kind of want to add to my... I also forgot that when I bought this, it got kind of squished, and that pissed me off. Because now it's kind of hard to come across. But honestly, I'm trying to figure out what to let's play. I'm almost finished with Final Fantasy Tactics, and I'm trying to figure out what to let's play after this, and I have no idea. I really don't. Like, oh, I just can't kill those things. They are just blocks that I just can't touch.
Ever shifting islands.
Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Oh, they don't hurt me though. That's... Do they?
No.
Okay. It's like, they seem to...
I mean, I wouldn't try to get squished between
That's
them.
actually what I'm trying to find out. Is like, will they squish me? But they seem to have an AI that kind of moves away from me if I get too close to them. Because like I'm sitting like right next to one, and it's like, come on, squish me, and like they'll go any other way they can. Pulling a Joker from the dark. Come on, hit me. Hit me.
Yeah, I was just thinking about one of the sarcastic gads and flags, like squish me.
Alright, now that I know they won't kill me. They do, however, block my shots. I don't like that. I also don't like these creepy eyeball things. Not a fan of those. Not a fan of those at all. I also don't like that the bad guys can fly through the blocks.
Yeah,
That's kind of a dick move. Why do those geometric shapes become intangible, but I don't?
You're just sending them back to the hell from whence they came.
So, I'm not a huge fan of Seth MacFarlane, but he did a show, and I think it's still going on, called Orville.
Yeah, I know.
Which is kind of Star Trek-esque, and it actually recaptures a lot of the style of the original series. Like it's got some drama and some camp to it, and it's got some entertainment, but it also has some interesting science behind it. And one of the things is that they get accidentally sucked into two-dimensional space, and like they're sitting here discussing the whole ramifications of, you know, singular dimensions and how creatures can't survive and like a three-dimensional creature cannot survive in two-dimensional space. It's a really interesting concept. Just the whole episode scientifically was neat. And it's like, this is something that I would have loved to have had, you know, the Star Trek writers, because I think they actually had a few more scientific advisors on, you know, to discuss some of these things. Whereas I don't think the Orville quite had the budget for that. Or if they did have the budget, I don't think Seth MacFarlane was allocating...
I mean, I'd just rather hear it from a better place than Seth MacFarlane.
But like just the whole I was like, and now I want there to be just, you know, more short stories about, you know, two-dimensional, three-dimensional, and single-dimensional creatures trying to communicate with each other and not knowing how because they can't even comprehend of their physical space.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that the Smash Brothers community's just loved for, you know, years, because we have Mr. Game & Watch, a two-dimensional character, as a playable character in these games, and like when he turns around, he literally just he's flat. So it's like we've often thought of what would happen if he were suddenly three-dimensional. Like, we've been thinking about this shit for years.
All I'm saying is that organs depend on what dimensionality they exist within to function.
That was the big thing, because so like the crew, they weren't fully in two-dimensional space yet, but they were hitting pockets of it, and so like one person was crushed, and they were like, oh, that's. But like they were crushed in like the weirdest way, and they were still kind of alive for a second, but like they couldn't breathe.
Like a Looney Tunes character being put through a literal ringer.
Yeah. Or something like out of Roger Rabbit.
I mean, same reference point.
Except Roger Rabbit terrified the shit out of me as a kid, because the judge was terrifying, especially in his evil judge form.
I feel like I should go back and watch it because I don't remember a lot of it, but I also know doing so will ruin it for me.
I really wanted to watch it as a kid because I'm like, it's cartoon characters, and then my parents were like, no, you don't want to, because like it's cartoon characters, but if they were real and therefore far more adult, and so
it's
like
the Sin City remix of your favorite cartoon characters. Yeah.
And then also being a child and going, that lady with the red hair is pretty. Why are my pants getting kind of like, you don't have a sexual awakening to Jessica Rabbit. That's gonna mess you up for.
Less so than other ones I've heard about. So.
Well,
I mean, of course, I'm a smidge older, and so therefore had one of my first sexual awakenings with Labyrinth. So,
Goblin King and his codpiece.
Hello.
Well, like
it was more for me. That's a man in makeup. That's hot.
The first one that I can recall was reading an X-Men comic, and the character Psylocke, who has been pretty much a staple of my, yes, this is a fictional character that I find to be super attractive, which is why I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Olivia Munn, because I never really liked Olivia Munn before this, and then she plays Psylocke, and it's like, I don't like you. But, fuck. You're attractive, and you make the character even more attractive, and I hate you for that. But she was trying to seduce Cyclops, and she licked his cheek, and I'm sitting here reading the comic going, oh, I kind of like that. Like, never once, like, and like, I read several of the comics leading up to this, and it was like talking about, you know, Scott and Jean's relationship and how it's kind of falling apart, and how they were trying to reconnect their relationship, and so there was a lot of making out and like a lot of implied sex, and none of that hit me. Like, none of that. But like just a scene of her walking into like the aircraft hangar in like this skin tight purple 90s dress, and you know, just licks him across the face, and I'm sitting here going, oh, okay. But yeah, that was I'm like, I'm just gonna set that comic down. Let's go read something else.
Build a model airplane.
I want to see more people.
Eat some fucking graham crackers.
some
Cornflakes.
cornflakes. Cornflakes. My first clue that I was asked probably should have been the fact that I have no reaction to David Bowie's Earth except sparkly.
Yeah, the 80s and 90s really weren't. Like, it was a smorgasbord.
The 80s and 90s were a hell of a drug.
I mean...
I swear, growing up in the 90s, just... Anyone who their formative years were in the 90s, either, your double-digit age to late teens, any time of that, if you were in that time frame, so much of the 90s just shaped who you are now. Like, we see a lot of the memes like, oh, you'll get more conservative when you get older, and like everyone from our generation is like, fuck no, we won't. We grew up with Clinton as president. He played the sax on our city hall. Fuck you. Fuck your conservatism.
The only way to win is to not.
Exactly. Okay, exactly. So yeah, like I swear the 90s just really shaped me as a person. Like, I grew up with animatronic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. One of them voiced by Corey Haim. Or was it Corey Feldman? It was Corey Feldman, I think.
I don't
One of
remember.
them. One of the Coreys. And so, like...
I just remember Casey Jones.
Casey Jones. No, you want to understand cricket, you got to understand crumpet. And then Raphael gets smacked in the face with a cricket bat. Love it.
I think that is actually the entire reason I wanted to learn to play cricket, and I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to do so.
Yeah. There's
Corey Feldman, yeah.
Corey Feldman. Donatello, and see, Donatello was my favorite growing up because he was the smart one. I always loved the smart characters because I wasn't super athletic as a kid until I got into martial arts. And so, like, I always associated with the smart characters because I'm like, I could outsmart a lot of people because I could outsmart a lot of my friends. Because a lot of my friends were not bright. And that doesn't say, that's not saying anything bad about them. That says things about me that I was hanging out with some of the wrong kids. That's on me. That's not me insulting these people. That's me saying no. But yeah, it was. Then growing up, I'm like, okay, Leonardo kind of became my favorite. And then throughout, my martial arts career, I learned how to use all of those weapons anyway, which was hilarious because I'm like, now I am a walking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. And that's kind of how I felt in high school. I felt like a Teenage Mutant Ninja. Not necessarily a turtle, because I wasn't...
I mean, were you awkward?
I was awkward.
Would you be a Teenage Mutant awkward turtle?
Awkward turtle. Raphael was my favorite because he had the... He was, like, I never really associated with Michelangelo. He was just a little too 90s surfer. That was his... But, like, the party dude aspect, I could kind of get... But, like... He took nothing seriously, and I couldn't do that.
See, I could identify a little bit with all of them, but I think Raph was one of my favorites for the longest period of time, mostly because he said things in the tone and whatever that I wish I could, but I couldn't. But there were some things, especially my grandparents. Those abusive fucks needed to hear some shit.
No.
But it wasn't safe for me to speak like that, so Raph was a good, outlet for it.
Again, the 90s were a hell of a drug.
I mean, Jim.
Never watched.
Sure.
I mean, watching the Ninja Turtles cartoon show was very different than the Ninja Turtles
Yeah.
movie. In fact, the Ninja Turtles movie, the first one, was very much like the comics. And the comic, like their comic series was super fucking dark, and I think they all died at the end of the comic. Like it was not meant to be, like it was a dark comic. And so like the live action movie kind of followed more of the comic. It was more dark.
Yeah, it was the gritty reboot.
Yeah.
Before gritty reboots were really
Well, actually, it wasn't even the gritty because it was like it was staying closer to faithful to the source material
as compared to the cartoon.
Like nowadays, we get the gritty reboot of it. It's like, but like,
yeah,
the cartoon was very different. Like it's cute. It's a good show. Actually, they're redoing Ninja Turtles video game. It'll be coming out soon.
Oh.
Shredder's Revenge. Looks great, by the way.
Interesting.
I will definitely be picking it up.
But yeah, no, actually, my very first concert ever was actually the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when they were on tour. They played at our camp.
I might make Libet sit and watch the first. The first movie was good.
Yeah.
After the second movie had Vanilla Ice in it, and that's just a strike against it.
Okay, so when we say the first one was good, keep in mind it was good for
the 90s.
Like 1991.
Yeah, it was good for the early 90s.
Kind of like when I tried to show you Drop Dead Gorgeous, and I was like, I know this is a problematic movie, but it was also made in 1996, and it was trying to be satirical for 1996.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah. Actually, I haven't seen it in so long, I don't know how problematic it would actually be at this point.
I don't know. I'm assuming at least the production values are garbage.
Oh, yeah. Production values are... Cartoon Shredder was voiced by Uncle Phil. It is past 9, and we're still sitting. I look over at the clock. It's like, holy shit! It's 9:06.
Crap.
We have just I noticed the cats walking in. It's like, why are the cats walking in? Like, oh, the cats are walking in because they're like, Father, you've been in here too long. It's time for you to be done. Come say hi to everyone. Say hi. Before we sign, he's like, nope, I'm going to ooze cat off. I don't want to be social.
All I saw was deep dish pizza. I have had 1.5 beers, by the way. This is just me.
I was watching a Jon Stewart skit last week before, talking about deep dish pizza and how he goes off on a... It's like, it's not a pizza. It's pizza soup.
No.
Like he just goes off on this rant talking about how Chicago. So it's like you have the gall to put on top of the dough cheese, then sauce, then cheese, and then more sauce on top of cheese. And he's just sitting here going off on it. I'm like, yeah. He's like, I understand that, in the Windy City, you need something that, it can retain heat, so that if, a blizzard comes by, you can slice it open and crawl inside of it like your deep dish tauntaun.
Dude!
Oh my god, it's great.
Dude! You fuck off with that nonsense. Deep dish pizza just means more pizza for me. And sauce is my favorite part of pizza, so.
I'm a cheese person. I love the cheese. But
Still get more cheese that way, too.
you do. I've never said I have a problem with deep dish pizza. I actually went to Chicago once to visit some friends and relatives, and we had what my uncle claims is the best deep dish pizza in Chicago. I don't remember the name of where we got it from at the moment. But it was fucking delicious. And a slice of that was a meal. Because it was literally, take any other pizza, get a Papa John's pizza and stack 3 slices of pizza on top of each other. And that was the goddamn slice of pizza.
Okay, this uncle, though, is he a White Sox fan or a Cubs fan?
He's never really been a sports fan. His wife is a Cubs fan.
Okay.
I think a Cubs fan.
Okay, then I would trust
I think.
at least her judgment in pizza.
But yeah, thank you all for tuning in to this ridiculously random live stream.
Sorry.
I mean, I had fun talking about ridiculously random shit. But yeah, like I said, I've got Final Fantasy Tactics going up through the week. I'm almost done with it, almost done recording. I will have a fair few number of episodes left to go. Then I got to figure out what to live stream next. Nothing's kind of jumping out at me at the moment. Like, I'm sitting here looking at, like, usually by the time I get to this point in a project, I've already lined up what my next game is, because I'm sitting here going, I have a craving to play this game. And I haven't hit that yet, and it's kind of concerning me. So I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? But if you've got any ideas of something that you think would be fantastic for me to play, please send me links. One of these days I should just post my inventory as a thing to see. These are all the games that I have access to. Let's see what we got. I'll be a year older next time you stream.
Happy early birthday.
Happy birthday. And we will say happy birthday to you again afterwards, since we'll have passed. But
I hope you have a fantastic birthday day.
yes. And in the meantime, everyone stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, wear a mask.
I mean, you can, if you are fully vaccinated and you've reached that point, you can, in fact, go without a mask. I don't feel comfortable doing so yet, but, like, you can. It is okay. And I personally won't mistake you as some fucking a rabid MAGA person if you decide to not wear your mask. Because I know you and I trust you.
We're on your side. But yeah.
Take care of
yourselves. And we'll be back next week, same hat time, same hat channel, for another live stream. I have no idea what I'm going to do then as well, because I think of this stuff like a couple hours in advance.
Yeah.
I am not prepared. I do this professionally.
Unless there's a game that has come out that week that is just silly and ridiculous, and you're like, okay, we're gonna stream this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally decided like 2 hours before.
Yeah. So, but yeah, everyone take care of yourselves, and I will see you all next week. And stay tuned to the channel for all my Final Fantasy Tactics stuff, because I'm super excited about that. So, till then, bye.
Good night, guys. Mwah.
11 people